Page 78, Chord Crossings. Goodness sake, look at all these notes. They're talking at the top of the page about the C chord. Well, you remember what a chord is, I hope. It's two or more notes you can hear at the same time. Here you can hear them at the same time because you're playing them at the same time. That's handy. And the C chord is simply a three-note chord, also known as a triad, with the C on the bottom, and it's every other note. It's built on intervals of a third. So a C, and I go up, just skip a note, just skip a note, and that's a C chord. Okay? We got different flavors of these chords. I'm not talking about those yet. Let's keep it simple. This is a C chord, a D chord, an E chord, an F chord, a G chord. Keep it simple. It's a C chord. You'll learn to recognize them in the music. They're very common. You'll see them. I mean, you know they're intervals of a third because each note is on a space or each note is on a line and they're next to each other. Look at the first measure. You have C's, you have a C and a G. See, it's a C chord. They're all on spaces next to each other. Okay. And the second measure, they're on lines. They're here. It doesn't matter if it's a line or a space. The point is, they're next to each other. They come out. Those are chords, triads, and the bottom note is a C on each one, so it's a C chord. C chord, C chord, C chord, C chord, C chord, whatever. Well, you don't have to play them at the same time. Remember, it's when you can hear them. Look at the second line. It's still the chord, the three notes in the measure 5, lots of notes in a C chord, but you're playing them one at a time. But even so, you can still hear it. Your mind, your brain works, so you can still hear that harmony. You can hear all those notes as if you played that. That's why it's still a chord. So these are all C chords, except the last note's not. It's just a single note. You need to know what it is. Now we'll get into having fun with it because it doesn't have to be here. I can put the C on top or the E on top. It's still a C chord, but I don't want to get into that too much now because I hopefully have only confused you enough for this part. So let's stick with this. Now, I told you in a pentascale, the bottom note is a tonic. Well, in a chord, because the bottom note in a chord doesn't have to be the bottom note in a scale. The bottom note in a chord is called the root, like the root of a tree. So in this arrangement, the bottom note, the C, is the root, and the root identifies the chord. Keep that in mind. The root identifies the chord. So in this case, the root is the C, so therefore it is a C chord. And then you have the third and the fifth. Well, here we're talking about the chord. So the bottom is 1. Remember, we don't start with 0. 1, 2, 3, that would be the third. 4, 5, that would be the fifth. 1, 3, and 5. Or root, third, and fifth. Root, third, and fifth. Because you're going to get these words, and I just like to kind of understand the theory, because you read about it or hear about it, you have some idea what they're talking about. So in a chord, the root, the third, and the fifth. And even if you rearrange the chord, it's like here I put the C on top, the names don't change. The C is still the root, even though it's on top, because I rearranged the chord. So that's still root, third, and fifth. So the names stay the same regardless of how you arrange the chord. Doesn't matter. So but we're sticking with this for now. We got plenty of time to get confused about this later. Here. That's what chord crossings is all about. So you're starting out here, and then you got this chord, and your left hand comes over to play that C chord, and then the right hand that has an 8VA there on measure 4 is up here. Then in the second line, you got the broken chords, one at a time. I use broken chords. Well, let's talk about that. First line are block chords. That tells you there. A block chord is when you play the notes at the same time. A broken chord is anything else. They say notes played separately. Yeah. Because I could play there's 3 notes involved. I could play 2 of them at the same time. And then one of them, I could go here. That's still a broken chord. All in all, the whole chord, that's a broken chord. block chord is together, broken chord is anything else, and their patterns for broken chords there are thousands of them. You and your imagination as to how many patterns there are for broken chords. If you're into improvising, you'll learn a lot of patterns for broken chords that you'll use as part of your improvising. Let's look at chord crossings. 2 lines long, no repeat sign. Treble and bass clef, 3/4 time now, so there's just 3 counts in a measure. We're just playing C chords all over, aren't we, pretty much? Dotted half notes. So let's just try it, both hands together. So you're here for 3 counts, and then here. And while those 3 counts are going on, you're up here. Get ready. Be here before you need it. And then while that's going on, you're up here. And while that's going on, you come back down here. And while that's going on, you come up here. Move over here. So you're constantly moving around. And you're looking at the music, looking down. Look at the music, looking down. Well, hopefully most of the time you're looking at the music, because you only need to look down. You only need to glance down just to see where to go. And once you're there, you can look back at the music. You can also just memorize a piece. It's not hard. And then you can look down all the time if you want. But the idea is, right here I got to move my left hand, so I'm just going to look down and see where to get the left hand. And once the hand is there, I'm looking at the music again. So it's here, here, look down, here, and then look down again for the right hand, then here, and then look down again, glance down, and then here, glance down, glance down, glance down. So I'm just looking down here, and it's not a big motion. It's just a little motion where you'll get used to it. It comes in time. It's part of practicing. Now, there's no articulation here is given. You just play everything as connected as you can. Dynamics, it says loud in the first line. 3 notes, you can play those pretty loud. Collapse the wrist a little bit when you do this, and try and listen carefully to get the notes down at the same time. I don't, but maybe you can. Try and get them down at the same time. I've heard the professionals not do it either. I mean, it's a struggle. It always will be. Here. See, that wasn't at the same time. And then now you don't have to worry about it. They're broken chords. But you come down to moderately loud here. And then you have that hairpin, that arrow, called a hairpin. Means to gradually get softer. Now you're going to go down to soft. So you're moderately loud, moderately soft. So I'll do the first 2 notes moderately loud. Now moderately soft, soft. I save most of the diminuendo or the decrescendo toward the end of it. So then that's soft. Speed, smooth and steady. It's not a speed, just a nice steady beat. Somewhere in the middle. They've added pedal. Don't know why. I guess they want you to hear the harmony because it's just a C chord. And as long as you're constantly playing the same chord, you could pedal it. I don't like it, but some people do. You could pedal it. Push the pedal down right after you play the first chord. Leave it down to the whole thing. And when this hand comes up, you come up wherever that note is. You'll figure it out. Yeah. So. There's a RIT in the next to the loud. You see the RIT means gradually slow down, so I'm slow. Yeah? I'm not going to show the pedal because they're just pushing it down at the beginning and lifting it up at the end. Let's do it together slowly and make sure you have the notes and the rhythms and everything. I'm not going to use pedal on it because you can hear better without it. So I'll give us 3 counts since it's in 3/4 time. Let's play it together slowly. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Off.